Hello, sweet friend. My name is Micah, and I thought it would be kind of fun to take a look at the journal pages that I created in October. And I think there's a little bit of end of September in there as well. But first of all, look at how cute the stack is. These are the journals I've been keeping this month, and I love how it's small and compact they are, and they just look so cute together, don't they? The main journal I've been using is this Hobonichi Weeks, and this is an edition from 2023, and it used to have the 2023 in foil on the cover, but I've very gently rubbed that off because obviously now I've been using it for 2024, and yeah, I thought that might be kind of nice to not have a date on here. I love this fabric so much, it's so cool. This I actually bought in 2023 as a logbook for a project that I worked on that sort of fell through. And so this book has seen many iterations. So then I tried some gratitude journaling, but that didn't really stick. And then I tried several different things to use it almost as a sketchbook or creative outlet, and tried a couple things. I actually made a video about this, which I can link, just how to use your Hobonichi Weeks for creative endeavors. So for example, you could teach yourself how to mix certain watercolors and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this book has seen many iterations, but in October and September, I used it as my main journal or daily journal, but in weekly form, because I've noticed that while I do sometimes feel that daily pages can be really stressful to keep up with, especially if you want to decorate and make them look pretty, but then if I have just undated journaling, I feel like I'm missing certain smaller memories because I don't know, I just don't capture them if there's not like a date attached to them. So I've been working off this theory that then a weekly journal like this is a good in-between, because I can still decorate, but then the space for the day is really small, and so I can just log a couple highlights of the day, what I've been working on, or if there's something exciting that happened, or just something fun. So for example, on this Thursday, I wrote about how I trapped a fly in some cookie packaging accidentally. I just had the package open and the fly went in, and I closed the packaging, and all of a sudden I heard this buzzing noise and realized that I had trapped a fly in the cookie wrapper. I don't know. I think something like that I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to start a whole journal page for, but in this format I can just jot that down and be done with it. So yeah. And then certain decorations are more decorative. I said that in a weird way. Decorative, and others are just sort of more, I can't speak. Subjective? No, that's not the right word either. They're more on point. So for example, here I was working a lot that day at the library, and so we have this cat with the laptop there. And then the right side I use differently depending on the week. Here, for example, I just reflected on my week as a whole. And then here I used it to include more photos. This is the week when I launched the October printable collection, and yeah, included these photos. And I also included one comment that I got from a member. I always appreciate comments so very much, and I read and respond to all of them. I've been trying to be more intentional about including other people's words in my journals. So that can be comments, but also obviously text messages from friends and loved ones, those kinds of things. So that's kind of nice. It just makes the representation more multi-dimensional. I don't know. But yeah, I like it. I like how that reflects on what I've been working on. And in general, another thing that I've been trying to be more intentional about is to include more about my finished illustrations, because of course I keep all my sketchbooks and they represent what I've been working on. but rarely do I include what the finished product looks like. And so I felt like maybe that I can do that in my journals. And then this week, really fun, I went to my favorite nature preserve and took a hike, and that's the first time I really felt like it was finally turning into fall. So that was really fun. Been trying to take more snapshots as well, and so that's what I included here. And then this cute fish here is actually from a wrapper from some chopsticks because we went and got sushi. And without this fish, I feel like this spread looks really cohesive. It has all the wonderful fall vibes, and yeah, it just really, everything goes together so nicely. But I've been trying to be more loose, and I want my journals to look more lived in a way. And so I just told myself that, well, I like how this fish looks, so let's just throw it in there and forget about upkeeping this sort of very designery look. Not to say that this is the most perfect journal page you've ever seen, but this is the odd one out for sure. But I like the page more because of it, because it's an actual true piece of ephemera from the week. And so, yeah, I like this very much. I think this might be one of my favorite spreads in here so far. And here I reflected on the week as a whole and realized that there were certain themes that came up. So that was kind of nice, and something that I've noticed too about journaling about my week this way, because everything is not chopped up into single days. You can really take a look at what was the week like as a whole. There's a certain perspective that you get from that I think is kind of nice. Yeah. And then here again with the with the snapshots, I really liked how the shadow of this tree looked against this fence, and so I just gave a thumbs up and took a snapshot, and yeah, just really fun, and it really reminds me of that walk. This PET tape, these cute little elements here, are from a collaboration between the illustrator goes by Nettle and Twig, and this is a collaboration with Miso paper, which is a stationery store in the UK. So that's where this all comes from. Really cute. Has all the fall vibes too. And then here I used the right side to write down a quote that I got from a newsletter. I think I've mentioned this newsletter quite a few times. It's by James Clear. And coincidentally, this quote actually mirrored certain things that I had written about in this week. So that really went together well. Kind of interesting that way. Oh yeah, this is also a fun week. Also a fun spread, I think. We went to a place called Natural Bridge here in Kentucky, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know, I think you can tell on video. It's this rock formation that forms a natural bridge. It's very, very cool. Massive, massive stones, and you can walk up top and overlook this nature preserve. And we timed it perfectly because all the trees were looking really fallish, and it was beautiful sunshine, and I think we had like 23 or 25 degrees. So yeah, that was wonderful. So I included some of the photos here, and then I made a note where I put in the additional photos. So they're in the notes pages, which we'll get to in just a moment. So yeah, kind of fun. And with some of these pages, I pre-decorated. So this frame with this painting of the dog and the cat with the flowers, and then also this cat, they were already here. I actually did that in a video with you guys. And it's kind of interesting because at first I was like, oh man, if I had known that I was gonna include all these photos, I wouldn't have put this big sticker in here. But I kind of like how it now looks, and because again, it's a little odd almost, because this is this frame and now it's kind of like this gallery, right? And we have these photos with the painting, and I don't know, it's kind of nice. And it does help me to not be too serious with some of my decorations. I think it gives me something to respond to. And also I've been trying to be more free with my stickers, like just use them if you like the look of them kind of thing, and not to be too, it doesn't have to necessarily always all make sense. And so, yeah, I kind of like how that turned out. And I wouldn't have put that there if I had not already had that on the paper, if that makes sense. So yeah, really fun. And then this is this week. So as you can see, I always leave the right side blank till the end of the week so that I know, do I want to put more pictures in? Do I have something to reflect about? And then if I ever come across a week where nothing comes to mind, I'm just going to use this to respond to a journal prompt, I think. So yeah, that's that. And then the notes pages, where do they start? Right here. This is just what I use for additional journaling that doesn't fit into the weekly format. So here, for example, we have 2 books that I read, Howl's Moving Castle and Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. Really loved reading Howl's Moving Castle. Was kind of disappointed by Miss Frisbee. I love the movie so much, and I'm all for anthropomorphic animals. I love that. But yeah, that was an odd one, and odd in a way that I didn't expect. But I don't want to, talk too much. I mean, clearly I had a lot of things to say about that, but yeah. This is actually a copy from a journal entry that I did in the Sterling Ink B6 journal that I used in July and August-ish. And I liked the journal entry so much, and it gave me so much clarity, and I had some additional thoughts that I really wanted to copy that into this journal again and even process some other things and update some things. So that's really cool. This is actually from a journal prompt by Erin Ware that she gives on her Patreon page. And yeah, something about this really helped me clarify some things that I keep revisiting in my illustrations and in some aspects of my personal life. And so, yeah. So Erin, if you're watching, thank you. This has been so helpful. So yeah, I have that in here. And then in October, I had made some cat stickers with cats that are sewing. I got that as a request, and I loved it so much because my family cat used to love hanging out with my mom. I think I've mentioned that before, when she was sewing. So I put this picture in and also put in a sticker and just sort of reflected on how that came together. And weirdly, I've been noticing that though sometimes I like sewing, I love fabric more than I like sewing as an activity. And I have been trying to decide on some fabrics that I want to buy because I want to cover some journals in fabric, because I realized how much I love the texture of the fabric on this. And yeah, so I've been looking at certain fabrics, and this has been sort of a collection of those and some other things I thought I might sew. So that's this cute page here. And then this is similar to what I talked about with the photos of my collage sheets in the weekly section. These are sketches of characters that I've been working on, and I only had them on separate pieces of paper rather than in a sketchbook because I was still working things out and tracing certain things and then changing things. And usually those kinds of snippets often, go in the trash. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe it would be nice to keep them somewhere because I've been working on certain things and it's part of a larger, I don't want to call it development. That sounds so serious. But yeah, that just all went together. I've started working on a character. Her name is Hattie, and working on a story for her. So yeah, there's just certain things that are starting to come together. And so I thought that would be nice to keep. And then here I just wrote out a poem that I saw on Instagram. Somebody shared that and I loved it so much, talking about how autumn is the time for everyone with a sensitive nervous system. And then I paired it with some of those photos that I took on my hike because I don't know, I just wanted to. So I did it. Yeah, so being really loose with these pages in a way, and really quick too, not overthinking things too much. Here again, I have an Instagram account that is more for my illustrations, and I haven't posted on there in a long time. And I've been trying to get back into that Instagram account, like posting again. And so I went through and archived a bunch of stuff that is really old. And I don't know, I was really reminded of that time. It felt like a lifetime ago for some reason, but I have a lot of fondness for some of these posts that I did. And so I printed out those pictures of the posts that I archived. And usually, again, this is something that happens with digital stuff so much, right? If you go through your Instagram feed, then of course you're reminded of things. And if you go through and archive stuff, you know, you relive the moments you've posted that and what was going on. But so often those things stay digital. And if I think about the act of going back through the journal, how nice it would be to have that reflected though in paper format. So yeah, kind of nice. And then here we have the pages for the natural bridge, the additional photos. So that, yeah, corresponds with the weekly there. So yeah, that's how far I've gotten. I put in the next book that I finished reading. And so far, so this was a little bit over a month, right? So this was September 23rd, but this is 14 notes pages, give or take, for the month. So that means that a regular sized weeks with, 75 note pages won't get me through the year, which puts me at a crossroads, because if I think that I want to stick with this for next year, I do have a weeks, this pretty weeks with the Harvest Plaid, which I love so very much. I would love to use this as my journal. I was going to use it as a planner, but I'm fine with switching gears there. But then I won't be able to fit everything in the notes pages. So either I go and switch to, a Mega Weeks. But then I lose out on the beautiful fabric. So I don't know. I'll see about that. Because I've also been keeping some additional notebooks. So maybe I can just let go of the idea of having the journaling in the notes pages. Although I do like the idea of then this being the go-to memory keeper for the year. There's something so compact and handy with this. And I can see myself just taking that with me on any trip and just having that and be good to go. That's really nice. Someone, I think it was Little Coco Studio here on YouTube, called her week's journal her magazine of her life, which I think is really fitting somehow. Yeah. But anyway, I think I'm going to go and journal November in here as well and make up my mind about that. And then just for funsies and for just being able to play with different sized papers, I also have been using this traveler's notebook in the passport size. So I just stuck in my contact information, and then here we have a quote about AI and art, which I found so perceptive. And then I made a list of all the books that I wanted to read this fall. So far I have read 2 of them. So I have ways to go, but I colored in these little leaves of the ones that I read. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, really just cute and just having fun with, again, stickers and washi tape and putting things together and writing short little lists of, here recipes to try. And then here we finally watched Severance season 1, which we really enjoyed. And then again, just using all kinds of stickers and washi tapes, putting fun stuff together. I really like this combination. For some reason, I really love when people combine like photos and illustrations, like when they actually draw on the photo. That's kind of cool. I mean, this obviously is a sticker, but yeah, kind of fun. And yeah, just reflecting on fall things and yeah, just again, trying not to take everything too seriously. This was the same hike that I journaled about in the weeks as well. That's another thing I'm trying to figure out now is, okay, so what are, I don't know if I want to call them rules, but what memory goes where? How do I feel about doubling up on certain things? So here, for example, I wanted to try and see, do I like this format for memories such as going on a hike and being able to combine photo and illustration, those kinds of things. I'm just letting myself do the pages just so that I can feel it out, even if I'm currently doubling up information that I tend to not really like. I don't like doubling up on things. I think that's, I don't know. But yeah, this was a this was a thrifting haul, I guess. I had already put this cute pumpkin cat on here, and again, it's one of those instances where I'm just trying to figure out, okay, let myself respond to and play around with having this element that has nothing to do with thrifting, being fine with that, and using the rest of the page to draw out what I bought. I got this awesome book about buttons. It's this visual feast. Really, really pretty. And then I had drawn some of the buttons that already stood out to me. And then again, doubling up, having another spread about Natural Bridge. I tried drawing it because I took this journal with me. So that's obviously really nice about this smaller format. And then because it kind of set on the page so funny, everything was a little hard to fit, but I kind of like how everything just kind of swoops like that. I don't know. And then, yeah, just some reflections. I saw a video that explained the 3-word method by a stylist named Alison Bornstein. Kind of fun, just really cute thing to do. Yeah, so that's this. And then I wrote down a recipe that we've been enjoying a lot these last couple of weeks, which is a vegetarian chicken noodle soup by the website basedcutfold.com. And I'm not gonna obviously use this journal to revisit this recipe, because obviously once you have all these different journals and there's recipes all throughout, that makes them hard to keep track of. But I thought it's still nice to have that in here because, again, once you then flip through and revisit your journal in a couple years, you remember what you liked cooking at that point in time. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of nice. And then last but not least, we have this A6 Midori journal. And just like the weeks, this is a notebook that has seen many different iterations of different starts and stops and different versions of journaling. But something that I have been doing most consistently in here is this form of illustrated journaling. And I've shown, goodness gracious, these pages before where I did a couple spreads like this. And then I've been revisiting that in September. October was just way too busy. I didn't get to actually work in this, but yeah, so I only have a couple pages to show you in here, but I figured maybe you still enjoy seeing these. So this is just a grid thing that I made for myself. And so here I drew out a haul from Aldi. Every year in September they do a German week, which I really enjoy, obviously as a German living in the US. And so I drew out what we bought. Lots of cookies and bread. So yeah, that's kind of fun. And then here I drew my niece because my sister sent me this really cute video of her walking, holding her big stuffed elephant, which is just so cute. And then here I drew out, my husband and I have been really enjoying eating veggies and different dips for dinner, which this was a kind of an interesting challenge because So far, I've been doing all of this in black and white and just with lines to sort of, for example, distinguish between broccoli and cauliflower was kind of an interesting challenge. But yeah, I guess that's a good exercise to do. And then here we just have, that was a really stormy, rainy day, and the trash cans were falling over and everything. And it was kind of interesting to try and draw these trees blowing in the wind. So yeah, that's kind of fun. But yeah, that's it so far. But yeah, I've been revisiting that. A lot of this is just letting myself create the pages that I want to create and not worry too much about, is this really the system that I want to stick with in 2025? And just letting the system evolve naturally, I guess. So yeah, so far this is what I'm working with, and right now I'm pretty happy with these notebooks. Yeah, I hope that you've had a good time in your journals in October. Let me know what you're currently working in and whether or not what you're currently working in is influenced at all in or influenced by your thoughts on 2025. I'd love to know and chat about that with you in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Until next time, happy journaling!